Hi, my name is Ed Sparks, and today is day 23 of your water fast. It is the morning of the 24th day for me, so you can definitely make it through 23 days of drinking water and water only. I have not touched anything except toothpaste and put it in my mouth for any reason. However, even right now, I do not want to put toothpaste in my mouth. Really tough product. Mainly because my bathroom sink is not draining properly, and it just disgusts me at this point, being that for some reason my senses are so high that I cannot deal with it. Other than that, today we're talking about visual recognition. So you're so used to your body being a certain weight that when you look in the mirror, you notice things that are much skinnier and you like them, but you don't really recognize them very much. So what you do is you keep looking at yourself in the mirror, because if you can get yourself to recognize yourself at this weight, then you may not be so quick to gain weight. And not saying that gaining weight is anything non-scientific, but in reality, it's just that your body is okay with that. That's how I see it. So if your body's not okay with that, or your body wants to stay a certain weight, then it will. Other than that, you've probably been walking around with your mouth open because everything inside is pretty much dry or dries out all the time. So your system is really trying to vent out, 33 miles or whatever of intestines that you have. I think it's 33 feet. Let's look that up for no reason at all. But in reality, whatever's going on inside, you're just trying to kind of ventilate. Plus, I quit smoking, so there's probably quite a bit of that going on too. How long is digestive tract? 30 feet. So you got 30 feet to go. Yesterday, usually day 23, I have it written down several times. That day 23 is the day that I poop, and that really happened. So all that stuff came out of my body. It will never go back in my body. So that was probably a good pound or half a pound that I will never have to deal with again. However, I've dealt with that 7 times already, and so I have done at least 3.5 to 15 pounds of this process, because the first time it might be a few times to get all 3-4 pounds of dirt out of your body, because that's a lot of dirt, and metal and gold and everything else in your body probably. So you carry around gold no matter what. Anyway, yesterday we stayed inside. That was kind of boring. I had to finish up some work, and I forced myself to do it. It was very difficult to work on Saturday. I can't even open my mouth. But we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about HCC. So I come out of the International Academy of Design Technology, and I worked for SegaNet. Right, I met a lot of contractors. I was working for free for some software that has to do with video compositing. Very good at video compositing. If you want to change your hair, your hat, and video clip, you can do that while you move around. It's not that big of a deal. Lots of people doing private lines, and lots of people doing lines. Lots of people doing stuff, and we were making software for cameras. We were trying to get around the system of the internet, the mainstream internet, to come out and come back in before anybody could catch it. And if we can do that with 2 people, then they can do that long before us with 20 people. So I pretty much developed some of the most undetectable software in the world at that point, and we were installing it into, going to DC. I was in Snowden's building for a while. Um, I was in the New York Stock Exchange. I was definitely in some Secret Service buildings, and all this while I was just a schlem. You know, just everything bad seems to happen to me sometimes, and and a few good things, especially getting a paycheck. So even working where I was, I only got one paycheck out of the year or whatever I worked there. Afterwards, I picked up a Bat Leo in a fight with a gigantic lesbian who kicked my ass. However, I fought back against about 19 people to get out of the building. And then I did 43 days for that. And the year on felony probation, which was what do you call that? It was just based on it would be counted, it would be removed if I finished my probation. So I finished my probation, took a year. While I was doing that, I went to Hillsborough Community College. That is the county that Tampa's in. So at Hillsborough Community College, I couldn't do anything else really in the SWAT program. In Cyberman, I was working in the APE department. So APE is like assembly, programming, assembly, production, and something, right? Assembly, programming, and something. Electric, I think. So that has to do with all the manufacturing and some other things like I think it's Raikou and the Electric Wolf and electricians and stuff that work in the manufacturing department, which is great. I mean, you can easily fall in love with the simple lines. I mean, you're making machines. In Cyberman program, we make everything. So they don't trust nothing. Like they don't trust this. They don't trust this. They don't trust this. There's nothing that's trusted in this world when it comes to IT. So much less your mouse and everything else. I'm very specific on my equipment. So other people are pretty specific on theirs. But when it comes to pencils or pens, anything that you can imagine, they're making it out of bone, they're making it out of different materials, depending on what you're trying to get through. And it's a lot of fun. So here I am trying to streamline everything, getting really good at it too, learning different things about infrastructure and then going to Hillsborough Community. However, Hillsborough County is pretty big county. It's not a small county, so there's more than one campus of Hillsborough Community, and Dr. Angus called me up, and she's like, "All right, well, I can meet you. All right, I can meet you at the actual hab for whatever it was. I think it was Tiburon Hab. I'm not sure. I can meet you at Tiburon Hab." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, I can meet you at Tiburon Hab. Tiburon is the drivers, so they also have a lot of equipment, and it's Talon Hab too, because it's WAM." So I was like, "Okay." I was like, I've never been on WAM Hab, so let's see what's going on. She's like, "All right, fill out this piece of paper." So I filled out this piece of paper, and it was for MacDill. So the Air Force Base in Tampa is called MacDill Air Force Base, and HCC has a campus on base for the airmen, but you can attend classes if you want there. So I filled out the information to get on base, and now I'm in a whole different situation where I'm going to class. I'm loud on base. I can drive around, and I got authorized to do so. And then at that point, now I'm also in timber rehab or talent hab with Spider. And that turned into a cesspool of slavery, you know. I met about 10, 15 people that were all doing their job on a regular basis. I stayed, I always went to college all 4 semesters, spring, summer, winter, fall. I never stopped. So that turned into probably about 9 to 12 months of being involved with the Spider on McDill. And they were doing some other stuff, but mostly WAM and Waymo and Waymo and equipment. Um, since I basically do a lot of research and development, they're still looking at equipment like age equipment and stuff that has to do with planes and how ammo connects to different things, and then every piece of everything that we do is all electric and has to do with programming. So uh, there was a lot of I wouldn't say it broke the law or anything, but I did a lot of their work all the time. I enjoyed it. I mean, I took philosophy classes on McDill. It was great. I didn't make a 4.0 in public school because I just didn't care. But I did make a 3.5 or higher, I guess, straight A's, I suppose. Minus whatever I didn't care about. I did find out that chemistry was a lot harder than you think it is. Physics was a lot easier. Um, to Physics is a lot easier than chemistry. So I know we're talking about Cybermen. During that time, you learned how to do specific things on McDill. Went to the beach a lot. I had to get a job because my probation officer. I mean, I'm living in the richest area of Tampa. I'm surrounded by judges and everyone else who lives everywhere. I'm kind of in an indemnity-free area. I'm now taking classes on McDill and doing people's jobs that are in the functional Spider in talent. I'm moving up the ranks a little bit. I've completed a majority, or at this point, all of my ONI specializations. And so I'm full class ONI, and I'm working on my Spider classification. So I cannot go any further with the process of submitting paperwork and stuff like that to further the hoodie department at that point, which was my goal. I had a girlfriend who lived in Brandon, so I was driving back and forth, and eventually I moved on to Jefferson Commons. And met my lawyer at that time. He's still my lawyer today, and started hanging out quite a bit. And we went from there. I got off probation. They dropped all my charges. The judge, I had to wait forever. When I started waiting to get out of here, all I was waiting on was mail from the judge. I finished my AA in business management, and I was like, I have to get out of here. You trust me, you have to get out of here. You cannot stay. There's 0% chance that you're not going to jail next time. Like, you are going to jail if you get in trouble again. So I was like, yeah, I'm moving to California. So my buddy from the Air Force lives over there. So I'm like, man, I am going there. And I waited at my parents' house, 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 and that letter came in the mail. And I put everything in my car the next day, and I drove straight to San Pedro to check up at my friend's house and get my ID. So I drove all the way to California. My buddy was already in Vegas. I drove all the way to California to get my driver's license. I got my driver's license in California, and then I drove to Vegas to try to get my 1 year. Because if I can stay in California for 1 year, I'm automatically accepted into any school without any sort of entrance test. And in the United States, any public school, public university, I chose to go to Cal State. When I went to Cal State, my tuition was lower as I was a resident of California at that time. But we were living in Vegas. It was three of us living in a one-bedroom apartment, possibly two. That was me, Jeff, and Tony. And that's when more or less video career started. And I learned a lot about Vegas and gambling. So I got a picture of on my Google Maps of all my casino cards, which I don't know where they are or don't think they exist anymore. So time to go back and get some more. Have a great day. Oh, I just encourage you. I mean, you made it 23 days, so that's 22 days. You made, if you're counting by 2 days, then you did 2 days 11 times. You don't have that many more to go. Obviously, I've already finished. So yesterday, you really have to ditch the pity party and stay busy. Drink more water and try not to lay down too much. And the more active your brain is, then the more you're gonna overheat yourself. So just keep drinking water and try to stay as active as possible. So my plans for today are to go to Western Union, get some money. I wanted to falsify all my documents to get a bank account, which I still might do. If I don't get a bank account here, it cost me $74 a month in ATM fees, in Western Union fees, if I don't get a bank account here, because I can deposit money into my bank account and use my debit card here for free. So in order to do so, I need utilities and my name, and then I need to prove my income. So all that stuff I can do. Usually I try to choose a bank that they can't look up, like Cuba or something like that, Ecuador, and go from there. Have a good day. Anyway, do you want to do a battery check? Y'all can have fun trying to guess what country I bought those underwears in. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's Colombia.